Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Emily and welcome back to my channel where I review, critique, and summarize scary children's books. I am super excited for Halloween this year, you guys. I love fall, I love all of the horror movies that come out, I love all of the creepiness, I love the decorations. Halloween is the best. So it is August, but I am still going to do the Halloween in July tag because really it's kind of Halloween every month in my world because basically all I do is read scary things. And August is just closer to Halloween, so why not, right? All right, the first question is what book gave you the creeps? And I should mention that I have tried to keep with the theme of my channel by selecting middle grade, YA, or children's books for this. So what book gave me the creeps? And this one was pretty easy for me to pick up off of my bookshelf. It is The Nest by Kenneth Apple. Kenneth Apple is the author of the Silverwing series. He does a really cool steampunk series of novels that I can't remember the name of right now, so I'm gonna put it on the screen below when I look it up later. I read the first one. But as far as I can tell, this is one of his first like kind of straight middle grade horror novels, and he kills it. It's so creepy. So this book is about a boy who has a very sick baby brother, and he's kind of unclear on whether or not the baby is going to die. He can tell that it is putting a lot of strain on his parents as well as on him emotionally. So when a hive of really weird looking wasps starts appearing on the outside of his house, and he starts having dreams that the wasps are taking him inside their nest and telling him that they are actually building him a new baby brother, a flawless baby brother, he actually kind of considers swapping them. Basically, they are giving him the option to replace his sick baby brother without anybody knowing and swap him with this essentially flawless maid thing. There is a lot going on under the surface of this book, and eugenics is the big elephant in the room here. It's so good, you guys. I can't really tell you how much I appreciate this book and the moral themes that it brings up and its complexity. And normally I'm not a huge fan of Kenneth Apple's writing, but he really hit it out of the park for me with this. And not to mention John Klassen's fantastic illustrations as well. He's one of my favorite illustrators. Everything he does just has this tinge of creepiness, this tinge of uncanniness, and he's so perfect to illustrate this story. So yeah, you guys, if you haven't read this yet, totally pick it up. It's so creepy. Okay, the second question is what book gives you the most Halloween vibes or the best Halloween vibes? For me, this is definitely the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series by Alvin Schwartz and illustrated by Stephen Gammell. I'm working on my collection. I only have the second one right now to hold up, but I love all three of them. They each have fantastic scary stories in them. And even though the stories are really good, I mean, the best thing about these books is the illustrations, right? Gammell's illustrations blow my mind no matter what he's illustrating. His picture books are incredible. His illustration for these kinds of things, just amazing. I'm looking for the one with the hand. Oh my god. They're so scary. Honestly, so good. Okay, question 3 is what is your favorite vampire book? And I have a YA answer for this and then just a general answer for this too. So the first one I want to mention is my YA choice, and that is Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. I did a review of this book on my channel before, which I will link on the screen now. But basically the book is a collection of interconnected short stories that take place on one island with 2 characters in common between each of them. 2+ actually, but it does get pretty complicated. But one of these stories is a vampire story, and it's pretty creepy. So as far as YA vampire stories go, it's super faithful to vampire stories that came before it. Stuff like you could find in this book, which is my second choice. This is the Penguin Collection, the Penguin Book of Vampire Stories. And I've been making my way through this for a little while, but there is a ton of stories in here, all from sort of the 19th century century all the way up to close to today. I think the newest one is from 1984. And these vampire stories are killer. They're so good and so classic. They've got this feeling of just being iconic in the real gothicism that they have, the great sort of like vampire sexiness that they have, as well as the monstrosity. It's very classic vampire stuff. Just recently, I read a story from this book called The Mysterious Stranger by Anonymous. It's a German story that got translated for this book, but oh, so good. Okay, so the fourth question is, what book scared you so much that you had to sleep with the lights on? And I've never actually read anything for YA or middle grade or children's that has kept me up at night. But something that recently came pretty close is Through the Woods by the graphic novelist and cartoonist Emily Carroll. This is a comics collection, short comics collection, all by Emily Carroll, and they are so creepy. So creepy. Like, creepy to the point that when I finished it, I actually had to kind of run out of dark rooms in my own house. I had to like keep all the lights on for about an hour or so until it kind of left me, but it's scary. There are some really scary images in this. I think she takes a lot of inspiration from Junji Ito. There's a lot of this sort of body horror, weird monster stuff going on, especially in, I think it's one of the last stories in this. So if you like Junji Ito, and even if you don't read a lot of YA, I would definitely recommend to pick this up. It's terrifying. All right, the fifth question is, what is your favorite book about witches, goblins, ghosts, or demons? So I wanted to just pick one of those things, and I picked ghosts because I am a huge nerd for ghost stories, especially 19th century ghost stories, short ghost stories. I'm so trash for them. So I couldn't help but pick a few of my favorite stories from that era and share them with you. The first one is Oh Whistle and I'll Come to You My Lad by M.R. James. Honestly, terrifying. It's about a man who discovers kind of an ancient whistle buried in the ground, and when he blows on it, a ghost comes to him and starts sort of seeking his attention. The second one is The Signalman by Charles Dickens. It's about a signalman on the railway that starts seeing an apparition under the danger light in one of the tunnels. So scary, so good. The third one is The Haunted Organist of Hurly Burly by Rosa Mulholland. This is about a haunted piano at a huge mansion. And the fourth one is called The Old Nurse's Story, and it's by Elizabeth Gaskell. I don't want to spoil anything for this one because it's such a treat to read. They are so much fun, and all of them are publicly available now because they're so old. So I'm going to link all of those stories in the description below, but if you're interested in reading more Victorian ghost stories, I would definitely recommend to check out the Oxford Book of Victorian Ghost Stories, selected by Michael Cox and R.A. Gilbert. It's such a great collection, and it's such a joy to read. And a lot of these stories are for sure kid-friendly because, like I say, they're written in the 19th century, so there isn't anything extremely graphic in them. And really just a kid has to be willing to do the heavy lifting with the language. And they're so great to read because a lot of these stories were written by women who either were living by their pens, meaning supporting themselves by writing stories, or sort of bringing in money themselves for their families, because ghost stories sold, right? So there were tons of women writing ghost stories. Ladies who like horror, and especially ghost stories, never let anyone convince you that horror is just a men's genre. Horror has been written by women and defined by women for a very long time now. And when you read Victorian ghost stories, you can celebrate that fact. Okay, the sixth question is, what book do you wish would have been scarier? And this was a hard one to pick because there's not a lot of books that I wish were scarier. Usually with kids' books, I can kind of get on the book's level no matter how scary it is. But that being said, I think for this question, I'm going to choose The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. It's not because I dislike the book. I actually really like this book, but I think I went into it expecting something a little bit scarier and got something that was a little bit more whimsical and more fantastical. Just coming off of Coraline, which is like truly existentially terrifying, The Graveyard Book kind of didn't hold a candle in terms of horror. Okay, so the last question is, what book is your favorite that is set in October? I unfortunately don't have this one with me at the moment, but my favorite Halloween picture book is The Little Old Lady Who Was Not Afraid of Anything, written by Linda Williams and illustrated by Megan Lloyd. This is such a cute Halloween picture book, an older Halloween picture book about a little old lady who is walking through the forest and is followed by a consecutive number of scarecrow items. She's followed by some pants, she's followed by a ghostly shirt, and finally she's followed by a pumpkin head. And she is followed to her house by these various items and declares that she is not afraid. And eventually they all sort of turn into a scarecrow at the end. It's wonderful. So that's my favorite children's book set in October for Halloween. Alright guys, so that's all she wrote. That is all of the questions for this tag. I tag anybody who wants to do this tag super late in August, like myself. And yeah, if you guys like the video, go ahead and leave it a like and let me know in the comments below what you think of any of the books that I've talked about. Have you guys read The Nest? Have you guys read The Graveyard Book? And guys, if you want to see more of me on here, go ahead and click subscribe. I will be here doing scary kids book reviews and videos like this for the foreseeable future. Actually, right now I'm working on my latest episode of Analyzing Goosebumps. That's partially why I haven't done a video in so long, because it's a ton of work to do in Analyzing Goosebumps, but I always love doing it. So bear with me, it's coming. I'm also working on my first ever reading vlog of the Goosebumps book that I'm going to be analyzing, so there's more stuff coming. And I've started putting my TBRs on my Twitter, so if you guys want to follow me on various other social media, the links are in the description below. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.